Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to IQ Illuminating Quran. My name is Sahar Rizk. I hope everyone is doing well. Today, inshallah, we are continuing with Surah Al-Baqarah, 234 to 245, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا يتربصن بأنفسهم 4 أشهر و10 فإذا بلغن أجلهن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن بالمعروف والله بما تعملون خبير. And those who are taken in death among you, and leave wives behind, they, the wives, shall wait 4 months, and then 10 days. 4 months and 10 days, and when they have fulfilled their term, then there is no blame upon you for what they do with themselves in an acceptable manner, and Allah is fully acquainted with what you do. Okay, let's see. Okay, so no sin if you just meet the four months. Now, Sharawi said the grace period for divorce is 3 months, but in case of death, it's 4 months, and God wants to allow for grieving period and to respect or honor the memory of the time spent together for the sake of loyalty. So a divorced man has a choice, but a dead man or the death of the husband, there's no choice. So just to honor the feeling and the memory and the time spent together. Now, if she was pregnant, then whichever is longer, the grace period of the pregnancy or the grace period, whichever is longer. And she's not to go out, of course, and all fully makeup and all that good stuff during the grace period. And here, the community, because it says here, alaykum. So, alaykum is you. So, it's the community's responsibility to enforce God's laws as well. So, if God says, be moderate and no going out, then if she goes out, then the community are supposed to remind her as well. Observe her loyalty of the deceased husband and see her dress up leaving her house during the grace period. They must correct her. It's their obligation. Okay. Now, Iddah for a widow also has something to do with the unborn child as well. So whether it's the divorce but here for a widow you give extra because of the grieving period. ولا جناح. Wait, this is verse 235. Okay, 235. ولا جناح عليكم فيما عرضتم به من خطبة النساء أو كنتم في أنفسكم علم الله أنكم ستذكرونهن ولكن لا تواعدوهن سرا إلا أن تقولوا قولا معروفا ولا تعزموا عقدة النكاح حتى يبلغ الكتاب أجله واعلموا أن الله يعلم ما في أنفسكم أنفسكم فاحذروا واعلموا أن الله غفور حليم. There is no blame upon you for that to which you indirectly allude concerning proposal. So let's say a lady is, you used to love her, and then her husband died, and it's an opportunity for you to maybe propose. So first you have to kind of indirectly let maybe the matchmaker lady or a relative know indirectly that you're interested. So God understand that indirectly proposing is acceptable because maybe you're afraid that someone might take her again. So concerning a proposal to a woman, or for what you conceal within your heart or within yourselves, Allah knows that you will have them in mind, but do not promise them secretly, okay, except for saying a proper saying, and do not determine to undertake a marriage contract until the decreed period reaches its end. Because not God knows that. God knows when you try to go around the grace period. So you can't go secretly, and you can go, okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and announce it. So determination. So you have to go through the steps and know that Allah knows what is within yourselves. So be aware of Him and know that Allah is forgiving and forbearing. Yusuf Ali says, an offer. So you kind of indirectly make an offer for future consideration, but not immediately decide. Um, just to show if she's interested first. It's just like, okay, sometimes when a widow hears the someone is interested indirectly, they already know. They know that, okay, the matchmaker know the language, the families know the language and all that. But don't be so blunt during this period because it's not allowed. Um, ذكرها ذكرها تذكروهن. So mention to her. Okay, so تذكروهن, so don't mention it to her directly because that's not allowed. So yeah, just an offer or show your intention indirectly. Sharawi said God leaves the door open during the grace period. Yeah, so he knows that maybe you're worried in your heart, you're worried that someone will come and take her from you. So a period for a man to hint his interest in marrying the widow, so he doesn't lose his chance with her during the forbidden period, or a rivalry might beat him to it by asking her hand. So God clears stages, elude, propose, and determine, because a man should be clear and serious about marriage. So when you go through the stages and when you're definitely sure and it happens that the grace period is done, then you act. Okay, because marriage, people should take marriage seriously. It's not about satisfying a desire for a short period. Some people sometimes make a contract for short period, and that's absolutely not what God wants in a marriage. So God wants you to take your time and make the decision and then act on it. It's not, he said, it's not a passing desire, and definitely do not marry them in secret. You have to protect her right and her reputation as well. لا جناح عليكم إن طلقتم النساء ما لم تمسوهن أن تفرضوا لهن فريضة ومتعوهن على الموسع قدره وعلى المقتر قدره متاعا بالمعروف حقا على المحسنين. There is no blame upon you if you divorce women you have not touched, nor specified for them an obligation, but give them a gift of compensation, the wealthy according to his capability, and the poor according to his capability, a provision according to what is acceptable, a duty upon the doer of good. So, farida is a dowry, or called a mahr. That's when you give gifts to the bride that you want to marry. But then, if you divorce her, if you consummate the marriage and divorce her, you're not supposed to take anything back. But if you did not touch her and you did not consummate, you're allowed to take half back, because you're gonna have to give. You have to give half of what. 1 second, please. I'm sorry. You're allowed to only get back half of the dowry, because you're gonna be remarried and probably have another dowry. But God said, you know, the doers of good. If you wanna be more generous, then it's okay. All right. Okay. Yusuf Ali said the law declares that you get half of the dowry back if he did not touch or he did not consummate the marriage. Okay. So, but and according to acceptable, of course, amount. وإن طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة فنصف ما فرضتم إلا أن يعفون أو يعفو الذي بيده عقدة النكاح وأن تعفوا أقرب للتقوى ولا تنسوا الفضل بينكم إن الله بما تعملون بصير. And if you divorce them before you have touched them, and you have already specified for them an obligation, then give half of what you specified, unless they forego the right, or one in whose hand is the marriage contract forgoes it. And to forego it is nearer to righteousness, and do not forget graciousness between you. Indeed, Allah of whatever you do is seeing. Sharawi said, if you divorce a woman before consummation and did not give her her dowry, sometimes in the beginning they don't give dowries, sometimes, and you divorced her before touching her, then pay her half of the common dowry. So sometimes you paid her amount, you get half of it. But let's say you did not pay anything in the beginning of a marriage, you just got married, then whatever is the acceptable amount or the common dowry. Graciousness is giving up your half, uh, doing what is right might not mean satisfied. So if you say, okay, half, that's what's the going amount, or the that's what's right. People might disagree on what's right and what is acceptable. But if you go an extra step or be more gracious, then and end up everyone is satisfied in a bad circumstances, then that's what God prefers. He he oversees whatever you do. So you want both parties to walk away satisfied from a very unhappy circumstances. Okay, that he didn't add much. حافظوا على الصلوات والصلوات الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين. Maintain with care the obligatory prayer, and in particular the middle prayer, and stand before Allah devoutly obedient. Now, the midmost or most excellent prayer refers to the mid-afternoon, Asr, but then they differ which one. It could be morning, it could be Asr, some say it's Maghrib. So every prayer is really the most excellent, to be honest with that. So it could be easy. There could be Fajr. Um, it's the prayer from the fullness of the heart, with the full mind or whole mind turned toward God, inspired by awe of Him. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, that was Asad, not Ali. Yusuf Ali says is the mid prayer is the best of the most excellent prayers. He also said it's the Asr, but because it's the middle of the day, you leave everything, you leave your affairs, and you remember God. But really, I think Asad agrees with Sha'rawi, because really some people see it the Fajr, some people say Asr, and some say Maghrib. So it's every prayer is the most, what is it called? Most excellent. فإن خفتم فرجالا أو ركبانا فإذا أمنتم فاذكروا الله كما علمكم ما لم تكونوا تعلمون. And if you fear the enemy, then pray on foot or riding. But when you are secure, then remember Allah in prayer as He has taught you that which you did not previously know. Obligatory prayer may be offered in any way as long as you are without really facing the Qibla, but you're remembering God, because especially if it's during war and you're trying to keep up with the your obligations, your prayers. Yeah, especially if it's dangerous, then just get the prayers done regardless. والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا وصية لأزواجهم متاعا إلى الحول غير إخراج، فإن خرجن فلا جناح عليكم في ما فعلن في أنفسهن من معروف والله عزيز حكيم. And those who are taken in death among you and leave wives behind, for their wives is a bequest maintenance for 1 year. So you can't really rush her out of her residence. So, but if she leaves without turning them out, but if they leave of their own accord, then there is no blame upon you for what they do with themselves in an acceptable way, and Allah is exalted in might and wise. Okay. Um they give her the wife grace period, a year in the residence, the widow. So to kind of get her grieving and then start to think what to do. Maybe there will be a marriage in store, but they give her a grace period. Um, and then they start to see what's going to happen with the property. The widow can leave before the year is up. It's not like it's not like the 4 months grace period where she is really limited to a lot of things. This one, it just, she could leave if she wants. Yeah, just in case she marries, she could get married and move on and not really obligated to fulfill the whole year. وَلِلْمُطَلَّقَاتِ مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُتَّقِينَ. And for divorced women is provision according to what is acceptable, a duty upon the righteous. Um, that is مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوف. So the divorced women, they like alimony. There's an amount of alimony payable until she remarries. And of course, it's left unspecified because it depends on the husband's financial circumstances and the social condition at the time. It's different for every period, for every country. So كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تعقلون. Thus Allah makes clear to you his verses that you might use reason. So he takes you through, okay, if she's divorced, her grace period, if she's a widow, and then alimony, and then also her residence. So he kind of walks you through what's acceptable. ألم تر إلى الذين خرجوا من ديارهم وهم ألوف حذر الموت فقال لهم الله موتوا ثم أحياهم إن الله لذو فضل على الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون. Have you not considered those who left their homes in many thousands fearing death? Allah said to them, die. Then He restored them to life, and Allah is full of bounty to the people. But most of the people do not show gratitude. Sharawi said they were clearly they more people than the enemies by thousands, but they were cowards and they chose to run. Now, God did not really explain to us why were they afraid or running, if it was a plague or because they were scared and cowards. But what period, it doesn't matter. So the thing is that they were running away, and then God said, die. And then He mutu thumma ahyam, and then He raised them back up, give him back life, and just to show him that God is in control of your life. There's no need to be scared. You just have to meet your obligation. But the point was not that what period, what caused it, but the point was that he wants to live in regret because they did not answer the call for God's cause when it was time. They just ran away. And Yusuf Ali said, "You're supposed to fight for your faith and give it your life. Be ready for the call. Give your life and your resources. Because if you don't do that, then you can't wipe out your enemies and protect your families and your homes. But these people choose to just run away. They were cowards, or they're just submitted to be driven away from homes. And some of them, of course, their enemies, they give them a lot of power, and some of them actually were sentenced to death. So they didn't stand up to the enemy and defend. And that's sometimes that's what you have to do, because who's going to defend your home and your family when you run away? um, they forsook their homes for fear of death. Yeah, that's exactly it. Their homeland. No one protected even their lands. So call to the faithful to be ready to lay down their lives for God's cause. Yeah, that's what it is. And do not fear physical death, because death is up to God. It will come to you even in your bed. So, okay. It says, fear of physical death leads to the moral death of nation and community. So, if you're not willing to give up your life for the protection of the community and the nation, you will be the cause of the death of your community. وقاتلوا في سبيل الله واعلموا أن الله سميع عليم. And fight in the cause of Allah, and know that Allah is hearing and knowing. This is all about that God knows what's in your heart. He knows if you're fighting passionately for the cause of Allah, or passionately for your own interest and your own greed and glory kind of thing. Yes. Yes. Self-defense against oppression. Okay. من ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا فيضاعفه له أضعافا كثيرا والله يقبض ويبسط وإليه ترجعون. Who is it that would loan God a goodly loan, so he may multiply it for him many times over? And it is Allah who withholds and grants abundance, and to him you will be returned. Now, spending in the cause of Allah is called beautiful loan, and God promised to return it multiplied. So it's really a win-win investment. And it also, when you're willing to give for God's cause, it shows beautiful spiritual and denial. All right. Okay. That's the end of today's part. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take good care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.